Did not play yesterday. She's dealing with the elbow injury. Now, I have not watched this thing in its entirety because I like to watch stuff with y'all and react to it with y'all. So I skimmed through some of it. They talked about the Knicks and stuff like that. But I got to the point to where they talked about that Pacific meme. So this is the recent episode. It's currently sitting at 7,000 plus views. But let's listen.
Or excited about like in-house.
Wait, speaking of our game tonight, so that meme that we didn't get to.
Sophie Cunningham addressed the suspension rumors directly in a recent appearance on the Show Me Something podcast, and her answer was straightforward. There is no suspension. The meme was just a meme, and the internet ran with it further than reality warranted. The post in question showed a real photo taken after the Indiana Fever's win over Washington. The game where Caitlin Clark hit the logo 3, with fictional word bubbles added over the players. In the meme, a coach figure asks whether the team followed the plan. Clark says they may have improvised. Cunningham says, "Oops," and Clark responds that it was worth it. Cunningham confirmed the underlying photo is genuine, but made clear that everything else, the clipboard graphic, the captions, was entirely fabricated by whoever created it. She said the team found it hilarious when it circulated, and that reading anything more into it would be projecting something that was never there.
That meme that we didn't get to. That like
Sorry.
No, I forgot about it too, because that's just like a funny meme. Like I just saw that and like we all thought it was hilarious. Everyone thinks I'm like suspended because of this.
Okay, I didn't want to bring that up, but my group text with all our boys from home, like Sam, Clay, Dave, Bush, Gage, all of them. Sam messaged me yesterday and he was like, Sophie posts a meme and then is questionable for tonight's game. Like, what's going on? Like, ask her on the podcast.
That said, Cunningham did not practice around the same time the meme went up and was listed as questionable with an elbow injury sustained from a fall in a previous game. The coincidence of the post and her absence fed speculation that the organization had responded negatively to it. Cunningham's position is that two things have nothing to do with each other. On the Fever's overall performance this season, Cunningham graded the team at roughly a C. Inconsistent enough to justify the mark, but with flashes of something significantly better when everything clicks. She noted that Olivia Miles has been outstanding and deserves serious consideration for Rookie of the Year recognition.
For tonight's game, like, what's going on? Like, ask her on the podcast. And I was like, there's no way this is like up as like weird as the internet people think it is.
Dude.
But
it is so like that isn't like look at our faces and like just how the game went. Like it was funny. It just had nothing to do with anything. And so, but I know people are gonna go like crazy, like, oh, something more is going on. It's like, no, it's not.
For everyone not watching, for everyone listening, it's a meme.
So Sophie just said she's not suspended. There's nothing going on.
The more consequential part of the podcast came when Cunningham broke down the game-winning play from the Washington game. According to her account, the play was designed from the start to get Clark a shot. The coverage on Lexi Hull drew both defenders, leaving Clark open, and the ball went to her exactly as intended. The defense made a mistake. The play worked, and the result was the logo 3 that everyone has been talking about. That explanation, however, creates a direct conflict with what Clark said in her own post-game comments, where she indicated the play had been changed.
There's nothing going on. But I don't know, man. I'm going to take her word for it because she's from my home state and we ain't bullshitters. So I'm going to just take her word for it. But it still look a little spooky, Sophie. I ain't going
with Sophie and Caitlin like sitting in the locker room and it's like it's a bunch of word bubbles and coach says, you followed the plan, right? And then Caitlin says, we may have improvised. And Sophie says, oops. And Caitlin says, worth it.
Video from the Chicago game adds another layer. Clark is seen telling teammates same play before a timeout, and what followed appeared to be a different design from what she expected. Stephanie White called something adjusted, and the result was the ball going to Kelsey Mitchell rather than Clark. If the Washington play was designed for Clark all along, as Cunningham says, then the question becomes why a nearly identical late-game situation against Chicago produced a different decision, one that ended in a turnover and nearly cost Indiana the game. Either the play was changed in Washington and succeeded despite that, or it was designed for Clark, and the Chicago version was an unexplained deviation. Both interpretations raise questions about how late-game execution decisions are being made and who is actually driving them.
And Sophie says, oops. And Caitlin says, worth it. Oh.
It was just
Is that
funny.
AI or is that a real picture?
I think it was actually like a real photo of, because they film after wins and stuff like that. And I think like during it, something like that happened. It was just funny. So I also don't own the rights to that photo, and I posted it. So shout out to whoever did that.
It's like low-key funnier than it actually might be real, because I think pretty hilarious.
The actual photo of us is real, but all the other shit clearly isn't. So.
Oh, those aren't real word bubbles. Sophie?
Well, like the plan,
A team photo circulating from Indiana Fever practice is missing Sophie Cunningham, and that single absence has been enough to send a portion of the fan base into a full spiral. The theories range from suspension to punishment for the game winner meme situation to more elaborate claims about organizational retaliation. None of it is particularly grounded, but the Fever's handling of recent events has created conditions where none of it gets dismissed easily either. What is actually visible? Cunningham was present at practice. She was photographed separately wearing a sleeve on one elbow and shooting in basketball. Shoes, which would be an odd way to serve a suspension.
like the plan, the clipboard and stuff like that is what I'm saying. Like that's not real. I don't know.
So I've seen this face before when I saw the Liberty game this past weekend. She got blessed. She was getting booed like insanely every time she committed a foul.
I didn't even play good.
This one foul, she just rolled her eyes and the camera was all up in her face, just like catching her sarcastic eye roll.
Yeah, I'm a little
I don't know
sassy.
how to explain this without it being like,
What?
I don't.
The elbow issue appears genuine. She played through something during the previous game. Adrenaline tends to mask that kind of discomfort mid-game and is clearly managing it now. The photo in question appears to be a separate team, shot where she simply was not included, not evidence of exile. The problem is that the Indiana Fever have spent enough goodwill over the past several weeks that the benefit of the doubt no longer exists in any meaningful quantity. When Caitlin Clark sat out earlier this season, and the full details came out slowly and unevenly, it planted a template.
What?
I don't want. No, it's not like misogynistic. I just think you're such a You're like such a girl. And it's fun to watch like you play basketball because you do the most girly shit ever that like you wouldn't get in the NBA. Like when you like blocked homegirl like a few weeks ago and you like did like this shit and then like eye rolling, like it's just funny because you're like just a sassy girl playing basketball, and like I think it's very fun to watch.
So this one here is about Fever
Thank
team
you.
grade.
Yeah,
Now, roster update, every practice photo, every post-game comment gets filtered through that template. The organization has not done the work to rebuild trust, so the vacuum gets filled with speculation. Some of what is circulating is genuinely absurd. AI-generated videos depicting Stephanie White putting Cunningham in an armbar claims that Lexi Hull is being punished for confirming the final play was not drawn up as described. That level of content is clearly fan fiction.
yeah, that's a draw for the W if people
grade the Fever this year.
What I would grade us right now,
Ooh.
I would give us a
Be honest.
62%.
Well, I think it's
Oh,
probably
what?
like a letter grade.
Oh,
Well, so then that would be, I
C.
think that's,
like a C.
Yeah.
well, 62 would technically be an F.
I think so far this season we are a C just because we are inconsistent.
But the underlying suspicion driving it is not coming from nowhere. Stephanie White appearing on a radio program hosted by someone who ran a critical piece on Clark last week without any apparent pause is the kind of decision that feeds narratives the organization then turns around and calls ridiculous. Both things can be true simultaneously. The specific conspiracy theories are overblown, and the organization keeps making choices that make them harder to dismiss. The scrimmage footage also generated its share of scrutiny.
So, Sophie Cunningham's not here in this picture. You know who was there yesterday? You know who was there? Yeah, Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham was there. And the only... You can see here with Sophie Cunningham, she has something on her elbow. Very clearly. Like, she very, very clearly has something on her elbow. And I have no doubt about it that Sophie Cunningham is like...
Clark, Hull, and Cunningham were not participating in one particular session, and the immediate red from a segment of fans was coordinated punishment for the three players most associated with the game winner controversy. The more straightforward explanation, rest, load management, Cunningham's elbow, is probably correct, but the Fever have not established the kind of communication track record that makes straightforward explanations land cleanly. On the broader competitive picture, the schedule sets up favorably. The Fever face the Chicago Sky, followed by the Connecticut Sun and Toronto Tempo, none of which are currently strong teams.
Like, that Sophie Cunningham has an injury. I have absolutely no doubt about that. I'm not going to consider that because them lying about an injury to basically hide a suspension is something that I don't think they're going to do, and we're not going into that. Because let's be real, remember that Caitlin Clark is actually not injured. She's suspended for going at Brianne January bullshit narratives. We're not going that far. But there is the narrative now because Sophie Cunningham...
Getting to 9-5 through that stretch is realistic, and a Commissioner's Cup final appearance would quiet a lot of the noise. A stumble, though, even dropping one of those games, is going to intensify questions about whether this roster is being used correctly. A cakewalk schedule that produces anything less than a clean winning streak becomes its own story. The longer-term concern being raised in some corners is about Clark's future with the franchise.
Bullshit narratives. We're not going that far. But there is the narrative now because Sophie Cunningham suddenly has an injury. Where it's like, okay, like they said before the game, she had a bit of an elbow spurt. And in the game, she looked fine. She looked absolutely fine. But like, again, adrenaline can get you through a game. And she's obviously trying to practice here or at least get shots in. She's wearing basketball shoes and Nike socks. Adidas won't be happy with that. And she is also wearing a sleeve on one arm. Like, it is what it is. But
the theory gaining quiet traction is that the organization is considering a trade. Not this season, but building toward one if results do not improve and the internal tensions do not resolve. Nothing in the available evidence confirms that, but the persistent oddness of the Fever's organizational behavior keeps the theory alive.
Whether that is intentional, accidental,
or simply the result of poor communication is the question nobody outside the building can answer with confidence. What is clear is that, The online conversation around this team is not going to settle on its own.
A sleeve on one arm. Like, it is what it is. But suddenly, Sophie Cunningham not in this picture has fans being like, oh, where's Sophie? Where's Sophie? Like, oh, is she being punished? But like, the Fever posted this photo. I don't think she's being punished. The problem is like, again, the Indiana Fever, the conspiracy that the Indiana Fever and Steph White are controlling the media, which I don't believe, but it's now.
It is structural at this point. The Fever became the most scrutinized franchise in the league the moment Clark arrived, and nothing that has happened since has given the fan base reason to reduce that scrutiny. The organization controls what it can control. Transparency, consistent communication, and results on the floor. On all three, there is room for significant improvement.
It's now one of these situations where it feels almost like saying I don't believe it is just wishful thinking. It's just wishful thinking because Stephanie White went on a radio show of somebody that basically put out a fucking hit piece on Caitlin Clark last week. And whatever about going on the show, it's like, oh yeah, didn't even wait any time. And then obviously, they kicked Sophie off the team for passing to Kelsey. And then obviously, they kicked Sophie off the team for passing to Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. I don't think so. But all of a sudden, everything is talking about, oh, where's Sophie? Where's Sophie? Where's Sophie? Like, I've seen so many tweets about why Sophie Cunningham isn't there, and Sophie Cunningham is being punished, which is why she had to go and post after the game. People posting memes. I will not pass to Caitlin Clark again. So why Sophie Cunningham? I will not pass to Caitlin Clark again. So why Sophie Cunningham isn't in the picture with Kid Cudi? They sent her the right lines on the blackboard. Like, now suddenly she's carrying a bit of an injury. And then you've even got people being like, trying to point out that Stephanie White is like angry looking in this picture. I'm being very real. Stephanie White is not looking at Sophie Cunningham in this picture. She's looking at practice. I'm like, fans are not like, coaches are not going to be happy when they're focused on practice. She looks focused more than she looks pissed. But now you've got people looking into every single body language thing between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White and these other players and Stephanie White, and the fact that they were saying in the footage of the scrimmage, Caitlin, Lexi and Sophie weren't in the scrimmage. And because they weren't in the scrimmage, everyone was like, oh, Caitlin, Lexi